Hey YouTube, it's me again. Hope you're not getting tired of me, but I do need a favor. I need for you all to start commenting on these things so I can get some feedback. A couple of you have talked to me individually, face to face, and that's great. But I need some feedback from the rest of you too, whether it's good or bad. Doesn't matter. I like the feedback so I can make myself better, and that's it. So here we go with this one. The title for this one this week is "What Do You Burn For?" So we want to talk a little bit about what are you passionate about. Some of the things, and you can comment on those things as well if you want to, and let's get a conversation started on the side. But let's talk a little bit about Joan of Arc. For those of you that don't know, which probably very few of you, Joan of Arc was a warrior for France who was later burned at the stake after being tried by the church as a heretic. She was later, an investigation found her not guilty of the charges, and she was declared a martyr and later canonized or made a saint by the Catholic Church. So she was a pretty cool person if you read about her. One of her quotes, and from what I've read online, it says she said this just before being burned at the stake. She said, "Every man gives his life for what he believes. Every woman gives her life for what she believes. Sometimes people believe in little or nothing, and so they give their lives to little or nothing. One life is all we have, and we live it as we believe in living it. And then it's gone. But to surrender who you are and live without belief is more terrible than dying, even more terrible than dying young." That's a pretty hefty statement. So let's talk about some verses that go along with this. Revelations chapter 3, verses 15 and 16. And he's talking to one of the churches in Revelations, one of the seven churches. It says, "I know your works, that you are neither hot nor cold. I could wish you were cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will vomit you out of my mouth." That's the New King James Version. The Message says, "I know you inside and out and find little to my liking. You're not cold, you're not hot. Far better to be either cold or hot. You're stale, you're stagnant. You make me want to vomit." So, again, these verses were written to one of the seven churches in the book of Revelations. So where do we as a collective church stand? Ray Comfort, who was an evangelist a while back, said this. He said, "With few faithful exceptions, the church has also failed to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and heal the sick. Instead, we have become self-indulgent, building big, beautiful buildings with cool, clear acoustics and colorful carpets. Whereas cozy Christians, we sit on padded pews while the world sinks further into suffering. We have lavish luxury on the lifeboat while the world is drowning all around us." A lot of places that's true. They've spent more on their church than they do on missions, whether that's global missions or local missions. That's a sad state of affairs. So let's talk for a little bit about what we're supposed to be doing. Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20 says, "And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all the things that I've commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So, we've talked a little bit there about where the church stands and what God tells us we should be doing as a church. Let's talk about where you as an individual stand. Some people just don't care. Some people care, but they don't do anything about it. Some would rather play Xbox or even ride their motorcycle. Some care, but rely on others to do the work. Some actually go where the people are and try to make a difference. We need to be the ones who go and try to make a difference. I would encourage you to do that. Let's talk about the Good Samaritan story. I'm not going to read this, I'm just going to summarize it. In summary, a man was left for dead on the side of the road by thieves. A priest came by and didn't help. A Levite came by and went out of his way to go to the other side of the road so he wouldn't have to help. A Samaritan, who in that day was the lowest of the low, came by and helped. And he did more than help. He took the guy to a place that could care for him, and he even paid money out of his own pocket for the guy's care. And he said if it exceeded that amount, to just catch him the next time he was through, and he'd pay it. So we need to be about the business of helping people. So what does God expect of us, both as individuals and the church? It comes down to the greatest commandment. Matthew 22, verses 36 through 40. And again, this is from the New King James Version. It says, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." So let's talk for a little bit about works. I've heard, and excuse me for scratching my nose. I'm outside, so it's itching a little bit, and I'm not going to edit these things because I think y'all deserve to see the raw version. But let's talk about works. I've heard all my life that we're saved through faith, not by works. And that's true. That's very true. But we show our faith, we show our salvation by what we want to do for Christ. And that involves works. So let me read you a little bit out of James chapter 2, verses 14 through 22. It says, "What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, 'Depart in peace, be warmed and filled,' but you do not give them the things that they're needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. But someone will say, 'You have faith, and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that there is one God, you do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. But do you want to know, O foolish man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac his son on the altar? Do you see that faith was working together with his works? And by works, faith was made perfect." The chapter goes on to give additional examples about faith and works. And another example that works are important is look at Revelations chapter 2 and 3. When each church is addressed, the very first thing that's said about each one of those churches is, I know your works. And then he proceeds to tell what those works are. So I'm going to read you this verse again in Revelations chapter 3, verses 15 through 16. And again, I'm going to read it to you. I know your works, that you're neither hot nor cold. I wish you were cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will vomit you out of my mouth. That means he's going to spit you out of his mouth forcefully. When you do that by someone who's lukewarm, when you're spitting something out of your mouth, you don't want it. I don't know how to say that any plainer. And again, lukewarm. You got to be on one side or the other. Jesus expects us to be all in for him. And that's what I'm hoping for you this week, is to be all in for him. Going back to Joan of Arc and the question, what do you burn for? We should burn for the things of Christ. The things that Christ wanted us to do, which is go out to the world and teach others, make disciples of others. I'll leave you with one final thought. Absolutely, God saves through grace. But he expects us to do something about it other than just sitting on a church pew week after week. Go out and talk to people. Win souls to Christ. Again, if you disagree with me on what I've said here, put it in the comments. We can have a discussion, but grace is important, but faith and works are important as well, because our works show what faith we have. That's all I've got for this week. Talk to you guys later, and have a good week and be blessed. Thank you. Bye.